They try to drown me. I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.
Well. Welcome to the podcast again. Today's a very special occasion, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's great to be here.
Great to be here. You excited about the next step, the next level?
Oh, yeah. So far, so good. Day 3 or 4.
Is there anything you want to tell the listeners? You want to do like a little brag or like,
we
kind of let them know what you're made of?
Oh, yeah. We achieved our jiu-jitsu brown belts on Wednesday, and
fuck yeah, we did.
It was a pretty sweet achievement. Almost there.
Yeah. So we were talking about it. Everyone came up to me and was like, so you're going to do a brown belt episode? Is it time for a brown belt episode? And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do for a brown belt episode. Like, And then you and I were talking at the gym, like, why don't we just, you for the listeners, Zach, another member of our gym, Andy, and I all got promoted to brown belt at the same exact time on Wednesday. A little bit of I was kind of thought it was coming, but kind of wasn't sure, And people wanted a brown belt episode, and then I've had a long week at work, so my creativity level was dropping. And then you and I were at the gym because we just got new mats, and we decided, fuck it, let's do one together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only right,
Yeah.
You and it's funny. You and I are both on two different spectrums. You're excited about it. You're kind of like chill. You're like, I'm gonna enjoy it. And I'm over here like, fuck, it's too soon. I'm not ready, and I've got insecurities and anxieties about it.
Yeah.
What's your outlook? What are you looking forward to? What does it mean to you?
So like when we were talking, I was like, for me, like blue to purple was that's the grind, right? So like when I got to purple belt, it was like it's kind of funny because they always say like the higher belts you go, the more pressure you have, and for me it was kind of the opposite. I don't know. Like when I got to purple belt, I was just like, it was like a relief, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now the next step up, it feels good. Like to me, like everything that we coming up, we see of the brown belts that we had, and the more that we've gotten over time, it just to me the brown belt is just basically keep doing what I've been doing, just helping people out and trying to coach people up when they need it and try to give good advice. So
yeah, I think maybe that's what's shocking to me is like the grind blue belt was for me, and even to get my blue belt was like a long process. And once I got purple, like I always wanted purple. I think I look forward to purple more than I looked forward to black or look forward to black. Like I don't know why.
I get that.
You get it too?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is. What do you think it is?
To me, it's like crossing a threshold. It's like once you get to purple, it's like for me this kind of how I explained it is like white and blue. The grind to get to purple, it's like an uphill battle, and then once you get to purple, it's like it's all smooth sailing. It's all downhill from there. If you get that far,
yeah,
most likely you're gonna get to black. So
blue is like a little bit of a pressure cooker.
Oh yeah, that's why most people make it to blue. They don't get to the next level. I mean, there's like a bajillion memes about it. So it's like
Yeah, and they all start with a seed of the truth, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's what it was for me. It was like it was like blue was so long for me. The car accident, coming in, like I got my blue belt and took like such a long break, and then came back to the sport. So I think that made it feel like I had it long. And then
Yeah.
coming back to the sport and having to get caught back up because one, jiu-jitsu evolved, and two, I think the level of academy, the school that we train at, is a lot higher than the one I was at. So like there's like a huge gap when I walked in. Although I had a blue belt, I might not necessarily been like blue belt level,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like it's the difference in discipline. It's like you go from an MMA gym where jiu-jitsu is not the only component. There's a lot more wrestling, a lot more striking, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you go to pure jiu-jitsu. It's definitely a different level. You know, but that's not to say that it's inadequate as far as that goes, because it's just like a different thing. Like if me and you are striking with each other, and even striking on the ground, like you're gonna destroy me. You know what I mean? Because like I'm like 99% jujitsu guy, so it's like you bring other things to the table. Like I always talk about your anti jujitsu and how good that is, and that comes from MMA. That's not, and a little bit of wrestling. That's not. Like it's hard to deal with. So it's like
Yeah.
there. I don't know if it's an intangible, but there are different skills that you bring to the table versus just me, who's like only jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, like Zach Allen always says, I have a perfect MMA style,
Mm-hmm.
and like if that was like my style would be perfect for MMA. And I'm like, well, that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
because I've come from like you got to keep a good base. You don't want to give up takedowns, and you want to be in a dominant position at all times. Because the thing that sucks the most is working your ass off to either A, get a takedown, or B, to get back up on your feet and then end up having to do it all over again. So
Exactly.
it's kind of like I put in all the work to get your ass down. I want to be able to hold you down. Whereas jiu-jitsu practitioners, I think, kind of come from the angle of like positions and submissions. Like, you're not really worried about punches. Every match or every sparring session starts on the ground or on your knees. Some start on the feet, but like the goal is to grapple. Your goal
Mm-hmm.
isn't to just protect your face, get to
Yeah.
where you're safe. So it's kind of like interesting to think of that dynamic now that you mention it.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, if don't get there was a person, it would probably be you.
What does that mean?
Well, the meme of don't get there, right? So if like when you get caught in bottom side control or a bad spot, you know what I mean? It's like don't get there.
Is that what you mean by anti-jitsu?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm still like I don't understand completely what you meant. I thought you were like just trolling a little bit, like
No, no,
because
no,
I
no,
wasn't
no.
engaging completely. I thought you were saying like I just don't engage. I don't know
No,
what it means.
so like, well, rolling with you, it's kind of hard to explain. Um,
Well,
it's
fucking
it's
do
it's
it. You started
it's,
this.
it's not that you don't engage. You do engage, but it's how you engage.
Gotcha.
It's like you don't you take risks when you need to, but you don't when you don't. And with my style, I'm more of like what you're talking about, like a pure grappler, like a counter guy, if you will, right?
Mhm.
My style does not match up well with yours because of you're reserved until you need to explode. You need to turn on the jets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it doesn't work well for me, and that's why I call it anti-jitsu, because it's like you pick your spots, and I think
Yeah.
it works really really well for you. Being a smaller guy.
Yeah, exactly. If I make a wrong move, I have to work my ass off to get out of it. It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
do I want to gotta make sure I have that energy in the tank for making those decisions, like a risk reward system in my head. Usually, it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what do you look for when you roll now? Being going through your progression of white to brown. How do you how are you feeling like your outlook is on rolling, or like you know
Well, I try. I've always been. Um, I've always like when Professor was always tells us like, give them more than what they want, right? So I've always been trying to use what the person does against me, but I've always struggled with imposing the will, you know.
Okay.
So I feel like I definitely need to work on that moving forward of not just going with the flow, but kind of doing what I need to do to get where I want to go. So whether it be like the back or mount or side control, whatever it is.
Like more so like, are you are you talking about like kind of force what you want a little bit more, or do you mean?
Yeah, yeah, like not always force, try to work on, more on the setup, like of like if someone's gonna be moving forward, how am I gonna get to their back? Because I feel like I need to work on a lot of positional stuff besides side control because I'm fat now, so I just lay on people. But like I need to work on mount. I need to work on attacking the back and stuff like that. And how do I get there? Usually I let it come to me, but maybe I need to move more towards going after it and attacking those things to get to the back, like say arm drags or 2-on-1s or stuff like that.
It fucking like, yeah, you're that was rough the other week when that's kind of stuck in my head lately. Like, I've gotten stuck under two people lately, bro, and it's been fucking terrible. It's been in my head, and one was you and one was Bobby. But like, I don't know what I did. I think I decided to go shin on shin, and thought like maybe I could just figure it out. Once you like fucking like put me down, bro, I was like, there's pressure. I was trying to get my ass back up. That was a long round of me just trying to find holes. That
Oh,
Yeah, man, I'm kind of like I guess that was like one of the things I was gonna bring up too was like what are you looking for? Like do you treat it like it's just another day in the office, or does getting a new belt kind of give you a new mindset to chase, or a new goal, or a new reason for goals?
well, I think kind of going circling back to what I just talked about, the um, being a little more active. I definitely was a little bit lazy at Purple Belt. I will admit that. I was really, really just enjoying the ride, just going with it. But I think now as far as motivation goes, I feel like now it's time to be a little more. Um, uh, I wouldn't say aggressive, but like getting after it, and trying to like focus on stuff that I need to work on, as opposed to just coming in and just doing whatever the person wants me, or doing whatever the person gives me, and in that aspect.
Well, going kind of lazy, were you at least like kind of studying? Because I've had
No,
lazy days where like, oh, I've had
I was
lazy days where it's like, bro, it's so much energy just to get to the fucking gym. Like for me, sometimes where I'm like, all right, if I can't move my body, like if my body's just not reacting how I want it to, I at least like kind of slow it down and take notes of every spot I'm in and kind of try to think out where I can go
I
or
see what you're
what I can
saying.
like kind of trial and error, you know?
Yeah, I
Like
see what you're saying.
I don't know if you do that or if you're just like, nah, man, I've just been lazy.
Uh, so, so for the most part, it's been lazy. Like, so I, I've definitely been letting people work more, and I've definitely gone through some newer injuries where I can't move like I used to, um, with my knees and stuff. So I've been definitely took my foot off the gas, and letting people work and doing things, and the goal is like just be like, I'll just let them play around, and if they get too close to submission, I'll slide out of it or get back on top, or whatever. Um,
I've done that too, I gotta admit.
yeah, so there's definitely a lot of that, and coming back after I messed my knee up, I'm definitely feeling better. So I'm excited to move forward into the new goal of Smash.
I've kind I've kind of forced myself to slow down too, man. I mean, like with how my neck is, bro, I couldn't keep going like hard, like
Yeah.
I guess like the blue belt days, or like I couldn't treat every roll
Yeah.
like a competition anymore. I kind of had to pick and choose when I get hard days in and make sure I have like the next day to recover, or like, you know, like actually have the time to stretch it out and stuff.
Yeah, and I've been doing a lot more of that too. I've been, heating pads, stretching, using my the ball I have that I roll my legs out with and stuff.
I guess.
Just trying to take care of myself overall because you're right. During that blue belt grind, I was 26 through 29. It was like whatever, it'll be fine. And then
It's like
come
all
to
in the
find
moment
out,
type of shit. Like,
exactly. And then come to find out it's not fine.
it's not fine. It's not. And I mean, I think we're also getting a taste of longevity, like the longevity thing,
Hmm.
like this is going to be around for a while. We've been in it for a while. You kind of get like the sense of urgency kind of leaves. Like it's like as a blue belt or a white belt or a lower belt, like you treat every class like it's your audition for the next stripe or the next belt. And
Yeah.
now it's kind of like, I think we kind of have and let me know if I'm wrong, but we kind of have like the satisfied feeling, like, all right, well, I'm upper now. I'm satisfied. I don't need to like fucking break my neck or get stingers anymore and deal with them for 6 months.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with that relief of getting the purple belt. That's where it kind of was like I don't necessarily have to grind the same way I was before. I mean, I still train almost every day, but now I take a different approach to the training and like I said, I was being lazy, but it was more the idea of like I exactly what you're talking about. I don't have to go out there and win worlds every round, you know.
Right.
And I think that just comes with being the you're trying to get after the upper belts and you get smashed every day being the nail.
Yep.
And then
It's
and
oh, go ahead.
no, you're fine.
It's truly just like a weird sport. I think I was telling you this yesterday, but I wasn't telling the audience, so we're getting into it again. My dad was like, I was helping my dad hang up Christmas lights, and he said, "Congratulations on the brown belt," and he's like, "That's pretty big, huh?" And they followed me through like martial arts my whole life, so like they know it's big to me. And so we got into talking, and I was like telling him how it's kind of weird to me because I remember just like going to an MMA gym, right? And like, I guess I could say I'm pretty athletic, right?
Yeah.
And like, I knew I wanted the smoke going in there. Like I wasn't just like I was about it. So like, if you're good in, I guess what I'm getting at is if you're good at like an aspect, like going in there with like not much other than like Taekwondo as a kid, which I was pretty good at that, but that doesn't really translate into MMA. But like there's guys that can just like human beings that can just beat your ass in different aspects, and you're like, how you're just throwing punches at each other. How are your punches that much better? You know what I mean? Or you're on the ground. We're both human beings, 2 legs, 2 arms. How is this person able to just like lay on top of me and hold me down? Like how is there nothing I can do? How is there not one chink in the armor? How can I not, you know what I mean? Like how am I so helpless? And I was just talking about how it's like, it's weird because like MMA, you can't really fake it. Like it kind of weeds out. There's like fake people, don't get me wrong, but like it kind of weeds them out because like you have to work, and it has to work, and you have to balance pain. Like you have to be able to get through the pain and perform in order to be anything at it. So as like a novice, you can be fake or you can kind of be like, a blowhard, but like you kind of got to work to get up there in pros and shit like that. Jiu-jitsu is like weird because you can't really like a guy's been doing it for 1 year and a guy's been doing it for 3 years. There's almost always a clear difference. And then a guy's been doing it for 5 years, and a guy's been doing it for 8 years, and a guy's been doing it for 10 years. There's almost always like a clear fucking difference. It's just weird. It's like the reps add up. It's like, yeah, you get your anomalies, you get your freaks and stuff like that, but like it's just a strange sport. So I was telling my dad, being like a white belt, trying to get up to like blue belt, like it was just a struggle, and then getting to a blue belt, and it's like, okay, Now I want to be top of the blue belts. Like I want to be like, I don't want blue belts to beat me. I want to be beating the blue belts. But like you almost don't even look at purple belts as if like you have a chance, you know, like you, even like a purple belt, you're like, and for the people at home, if you're not a jiu-jitsu fan, because I guess there's like a lot of people listening who aren't necessarily completely into jiu-jitsu. It's a long sport. Like it's not like, you know, just keep showing up, kick a board and break it, not hating on Taekwondo, but it takes a long time. Like it's like it's a grind. And or was it? Oh yeah. I just remember rolling with some purple belts and it's like, yeah, I can fight and yeah, I can like try really hard and I can fend them off, but it's like there's almost like it was far and few between that I'm gonna beat them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And if you did tap one day, it's like, yes, I had a good day. But like getting to purple belt, it's like you start like not really worrying. Like you're kind of like you're in the middle of the pack. You can beat almost all the blue belts, and the people above you are tough rolls. Now we've got like the pressure on us where it's like, you know, well, you had a different outlook, but like you don't really want like purple belts to beat you, you know?
Yeah.
That's like most of the gym. So now it's like we can't let most of the gym beat us. If you're going with the ego mentality, I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I just like I don't know, I just tell my dad how weird it is at every level that it's like it truly is like the more you do it, the better you get. Or the harder you work at it, the more you study it, the better you get. It's not just like I can catch a ball better or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't master it within a few years and then you just keep doing it. It's like you are always working on it. There's so many holes.
Yeah, and to go back to the point of like the guy's been doing it for 3 years is always going to be ahead of the 1 year, and for most, I feel like for most of and as it goes, right, as you go up in level, right, I feel like that's correct, and it all comes down to timing. I feel like that's the biggest thing, and um, I can't remember the specifics. It's like what Bobby always used to say, just take one thing from class. And so I can't remember the specifics of what we were talking about, but Professor was talking about uh, the timing of the move is what's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I feel like that's why, like, you can see those clear differences is because of the person that's been training 3 years is going to have a better timing than the person that's training 1 year just because of that mat time and they've been in those situations. And then I feel like as the levels go up, that timing gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So where it's a lot more even. And
Mm.
that's what I was saying. Like don't sleep on the purple belts because they they are behind us, correct, as far as time goes. But that doesn't mean that their timing and those spots that they like to do aren't going to be efficient.
Yeah. They it's just like been such a long journey. It's like
Yeah.
and it's like we're almost talking like we got our black belts, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
just it's just to me like it's like getting that fourth stripe. I'm like, oh fuck, shit's getting real, bro. Like the next promotion is brown, and brown's usually relatively quick.
Hmm.
Like, but yeah, and then going back to what we were talking about earlier in the very beginning, like having the grind from blue belt to purple belt, I think that was just like so long and such like a process that purple belt was just kind of like just showing up and enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like being relaxed. I feel like we have responsibility again.
Yeah, maybe it's different because I do have the a huge benefit of actually working at the gym. So it's like I'm there every day regardless, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I think that might have be a little bit of the difference here. Is to me it's just another day at the office. You know what I mean? I'm because I'm still doing what I was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be, to me, that could be the difference is because you know I feel like you had the same responsibility at purple belt that you do at brown belt. The only difference is now you can't play as much. That's why I was like, don't worry about it, Kevin. It's
Yeah,
okay.
but like, and it was kind of funny because I'm like, all right, I got to go compete. I got to go see where I'm at. Got to go see what I'm dealing with. And you're like, maybe you should work on some legs shit. And then I started thinking, bro, I'm like, my weight and stuff, like I'm fast little fuckers, like how quick they pull shit might
Yeah.
not. It might be pretty dangerous to go do a competition because someone grabs your ankle. It's not like they're slow with it, you know. A lot of these guys are fast. I've seen. I do feel like I've seen like a lot of foot and ankle injuries at brown belt levels.
Yeah, well, because toe holds get into the mix, knee bars, So, I mean, we've been doing them for a while. It's not like we haven't been, but it's just like in competition, it's different because it's like when we go for it, we're going like 60, 70%. Like we're grabbing it, maybe we give it a second, then we put on the. But in competition, it's like that. It's like it's fast, so it's like getting the reps in, dealing with those. I feel like is going to be more beneficial because we do have time. It's not like we'll be at brown belt for a little while, so
Yeah,
there's plenty
true.
of time to go out there and compete. And I feel like that with every belt. Like every belt I've gone through so far is like I'll go out and do it like right after I get the belt. Like I'll go out and do tournaments, and like especially a blue belt. Blue belt was like a giant eye opener for me, just because it's like because I didn't my white belt brain and my blue belt body. I didn't take into account that some of those guys at blue belt have been training 5 years, already. They're like towards the end, they're moving on to purple soon. And I go out there and I'm like, why do I keep losing? I did so good at white belt. I don't understand. So like not realizing these guys have been doing it for a long time already. And then once I got towards the end of blue belt, and then I was winning again. It's like, oh yeah, it makes total sense now. It's like I'll go out there and I'll go with the guys that are newer blue belts, maybe no stripes, one stripe, stuff like that. And like I wasn't like exerting myself too strenuously, but because I've already been through so many tournaments, been training at blue for like 3 years or whatever, and like I had time. So that's how I feel. I feel like once you get to that new belt, I mean, definitely you could go out and do it. If you want to do it, go do it. But I feel like getting a little more practice in, getting some time in at that belt before going and competing, I feel like is a more optimal strategy for winning anyway.
No,
Because
fuck it, I'm going in.
you fucking do it.
I'm gonna see what it's about.
Because a black belt, then it doesn't matter. Because then it's like black belt's black belt. There are no more levels. It's just however long you've been training.
Yeah, could like a 1-year black belt go against a 10-year black belt, right? It's like,
of course,
it's fucking wild. But how weird is it to you, like looking down the line and watching other people getting promoted? Like the white belts we are used to seeing at the end of the line are relatively late blues, purples and shit.
It's awesome. I love it. I think right now, I mean, I've only been there for maybe 7 years in February at the gym, but it feels like now is like the best time for us because we have so much variety at different belt levels. Like it's like when we were talking yesterday, it was like coming up there was like we had like 2 brown belts, which was Mike and Big James, who are black belts now. And it's like we had like maybe like 5 purple belts, I think. I think it was like Bobby, Fallon, Zach, Ray, Jake, and Jeremy when I started. And I think that was about it, if I remember correctly. And then we had like an army of blue belts, and then like which you were, and then me as a white belt. Like coming up into advanced class for a while, I was the only white belt in the advanced class. So it's like it was like me and Rambo, and then Rambo got his blue belt like not too long after I started. So it's interesting to see like the progression over time of like how many like different belts we have now, and each belt is pretty stacked, so it's awesome, I feel.
Yeah, it's like I find myself having to like readjust or like kind of like recalibrate my mind, I guess, because like you see the people and you're kind of used to like, I don't know, it's like a weird, I don't know, it's kind of like a weird perspective. Like you are you stand on one side of the line and you got these guys on the other side of the line, and a lot of times when they first come in, they don't know anything, and then you don't realize how quick time is going by and how much they're picking up because you're also training and picking up stuff. And then you like all of a sudden this guy's a blue belt and you're like, okay, what, like you still see him as a white belt. I don't know. It's like sometimes I have to like recalibrate. Like, oh, okay, like I almost like what would I call it? Like it's like my memory sticks to just like where I met them rather than like their progress. It's like I got to recalibrate their progress, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like to me, like a perfect example is Brian and Ryan.
Yeah.
So like to me, I mean, I feel that they've been purple belts for a little while, even before they got it. I was like, okay, they're. I feel like they're at that level, right? But I even though they got the purple belt wrapped around the waist, I still see them as like,
blue
one
belts.
stripe blue belts. You know what I mean? I mean, they haven't had them for that long, so it's like, like they've had them for a couple months now, I think. But it's just they're like my little babies. You know what I mean? Like. And then Sal's another perfect example. He just got his blue belt, and you're just like, it's weird seeing it on him, you know?
Yeah, sometimes people get their blue belts, and it's like, damn, that's what I was at blue belt. Like that's where, like, are you just being nice, or is that like what it is? You know, like, no disrespect, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I find myself like wondering, like, huh, is that the level, or is he just being nice? Is that what I looked like? I don't know.
Most likely, yes. That's what it was. I remember when I got my blue, I was dog shit. Like I'll go back and watch my old matches sometimes, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Embarrassing. That's why part of me likes to record matches, even though I don't really get like a lot. I want to be the guy, like I honestly want to be the guy like putting my phone on the mat and recording. But I've just talked so much shit about it that kind of got to put my foot in my mouth to do it. You know what I mean? But I think it's hugely beneficial, like to be able to look back and be like, my posture was that ass. No wonder why I lost the position. You know what I mean? Or like,
oh yeah, it definitely helped for sure.
I'm a little bit too body forward. I'm a little bit too body backwards. Like, you know, like for instance, like you know how many years like Zach Allen was telling me when I was inside control or passing, I was too forward. Like I'm leaning too far forward.
Mm-hmm.
But in my head, like I'm like, okay, I'm sitting back. Okay, I'm heavy. It wasn't till like I was able to actually like sit there and really look at where I was and see what's up and see like a really good example of like I was like leaning forward. I was chasing them inside control.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I wasn't pulling the person under me and holding them under me. I was leaning forward and chasing them.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so head heavy and I could get rolled or like people could get my feet back because I was like almost all in on my chest and head.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I actually got to see an example. So I think it's hugely beneficial to record and look back. And you sitting there saying you look like ass. It's kind of it's true though. It's like it's great. It's nice. I mean, I gotta lean into the brown belt. I gotta go with it. I'll get over it. It's just like I have like this stigma. Like I want to be like when I got my purple for me, and I think as well as you, like, you know, I would roll with people and they'd be like, how are you not purple? How are you not a purple? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like I kind of liked being the underdog rather than like being at what's expected. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I totally get that. For me, it's kind of like, it's kind of weird. Like I feel awkward because it's like, eventually I just started saying, yeah, I don't have control over that. It's just like, it's not up to me, So, but yeah, there's been plenty of times, especially towards the end of blue belt, I was doing pretty good. I felt pretty good about everything. I mean, I'd just gone through, Kent was leaving. I'd just gone through like 2 years of him whooping my ass into shape every day. And, I was doing pretty good against, everybody else. And then everyone was like, man, when are you getting a purple belt? When are you getting a purple belt? I'm like, dude, I don't fucking know, dude. It's not for me to decide.
Yeah. Yeah. I went from like always wanting the promotions to just being like, fuck it. What's it matter?
Yeah.
Like I don't like, it doesn't change much of anything,
No, Like we got it, and I'm like literally that day I'm like, this is great. I don't feel any different.
I like the phrase like the belt covers 2 inches of your ass, you have to cover the rest.
Yeah,
I like
for
that.
sure. Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. But yeah, bud, what's next? You just said you're just gonna refine your skills, or you. It says here on Google, and oh shit, I'm on the Skype one. My bad. It says brown belt is the highest ranking color belt below black, which I'm gonna change that when I have my own jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna make the Dookie Brown fucking belt the first belt you gotta get through. Just so you have to like wear that hazed ass belt that doesn't match anything, looks disgusting. I'm gonna make people wear that to prove that they want the gym.
Nah, whatever, dude. I'm all brown everything, dude. I'm getting
Brown
shirts, brown pants.
Just doubling down, huh?
Yeah, we're getting brown
khakis,
brown sweatsuits, and brown hats, brown glasses, brown rings.
That'd be fun. Like you just show up with these freaking like brown hater blockers and like all straight brown all the time.
Just decked out.
Brown gi. Brown gi with a brown belt.
Of course. Classic.
Got to get you a brown phone case. I'm going to spray paint it.
Ooh, I do need a brown phone.
It says brown belt is the highest ranking color below black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, progressing from a beginner white belt through to a brown belt. I should have put this in the beginning. I might. Progressing from a beginner white belt through to a brown belt typically requires at least 8 years of dedicated training. It is often thought of as a time for refining techniques, which I thought that's what purple belt was, but refining
purple belt's about finding your game. I watched a Chewy video when I was a white belt many years ago. I sound like educated. Many years ago.
He's a solid guy to watch, like in like white and blue belt. I feel like.
Oh, of course, yeah, dude. He was huge for me. Just not just about like techniques, but about like mentality and like how things work. And
he was affiliated with my the guy who gave me my MMA coach, the guy who got me into jiu-jitsu. I think he's a black belt underneath Mike Giannis.
Oh, really?
I was trying not to say his name. It's like Voldemort, but yeah. Yeah, huh. He's from Kentucky and stuff. Come to find out, because I liked him. I was like watching him a lot. And I'm like, how small world. We're kind of affiliated.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he classifies pro as like the prototype belt, where it's like you find what works for you and then you really go like all in on it. Oh. So.
And what, brown belt? You just become more lethal?
I suppose, yeah. You kind of work on like kind of what I want to do. I feel like you work on. You keep working on your A game, but at the same time, it's like you want to really focus on. I don't want to say the fundamentals, but you really want to focus on. I think attacking. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone at the gym's like, you got to do a brown belt video, the brown belt blues video. I'm like, dude, I've been a brown belt for 2 days. I don't have much time. I don't have much content right now. It says, it's funny because this one right underneath it says brown belt typically requires at least 5 years of dedicated training to achieve. 5 years.
Bitch, where?
Yeah, that was like 5 years of blue belt. What the fuck are we talking about? Blue belt itself is just 5 years, but is often thought of as a time for refining techniques. The IBJJF requires that students be at least 18. Recommends spent a minimum of 18 months as a purple belt to be eligible for brown. It says Jim Carrey's a brown belt.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's interesting.
I wonder what it's like to roll with him.
He's pretty lanky.
Yeah, but is he like just telling jokes the whole time? Like, is he like liar, like just got like that, his personality switch mid roll? Alrighty then. Like,
he's probably pretty chill, to be honest. That's probably my guess. Especially now that he's older.
I've seen him like out of character, like like normal personality, and he seems like a pretty chill dude.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's cool that we got promoted together. It's funny that it's funny. I was gonna ask you, and I should have put this in the beginning. How am I gonna do this? So here's the story, guys. And I'm saying it like this because I might actually put this in the beginning. But so we had a normal day of class on Wednesday. We ended up lining up after class, which to me, I had a good training day. Did you have a good training day?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I had some good rolls, and I got some funky stuff out, and I thought it was cool. We line up, and everything seemed kind of normal. I showed up, and I had like a bad headache, but something told me, I don't know. I think you probably deal with the same shit, but it's like I kept telling myself I should probably not train today. My neck is killing me. I've got a bad headache. Probably just let myself heal, let it go for a day. But then it just kept popping in my head. I'm like, I feel like if I don't go, I'm gonna watch like Zach and Andy or brown belts are gonna come out or something, and I'm just gonna see it posted on Instagram, and it's gonna, one, ruin the surprise, or two, like I kind of just felt like it was coming. So I'm like I just can't miss right now. You know what I mean? Like I gotta I gotta show up until the deed is done, and whether that was gonna be another month or 6 months, I don't know. But that was just like that's where my head was. But so I decided to suck it up, popped an ibuprofen, and I head over. You know, typical jiu-jitsu mindset. And anyway, we had our class, we lined up, and then it kind of looked all normal. And then professor did the whole like reach in his he had the belt hidden in his gi, and he pulled it out and he said Andy. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Andy's been pushing really hard. He's been, coaching, teaching, that kind of shit. I'm like, okay, gotcha. And then I'm thinking like, oh, that might mean that I get mine today, because Andy and I always get promoted at the same time. It might not. I'm not really sure. And then like he pulled out your belt and he said, I got one more. So I'm thinking, okay, well, it's me and Zach sitting here. Maybe it's Zach. Maybe it's me. And then when he said Zach, my mind was like, oh, okay, well, the last one's for Brittany. That's cool. Like, I'm fine chilling at Purple Belt. I have no problem hanging out here. But I'm like, maybe they're going to wait for me to come to a night class so Brittany can come, because Brittany doesn't want to miss any of them. Mm-hmm. And he ended up fucking with me, and he's trying to make me salty. So he waited to give it to me last.
That's and our professor.
Yeah, that's how we do it. That's how we do it in our gym. So then my first thought was, fuck, Brittany's going to be pissed. Like, she specifically said, like, when I got my last stripe, she's like, I better be there when you get brown. I better be there. And that just kept going through my fucking head. Like, oh, this is exciting, but I'm going to have to answer some questions here,
Oh, yeah.
And it was just funny because after we did the whole thing and we did our pictures and shit, I overheard you telling Zach, Lindsay's going to be pissed.
I was like, you want to see? I showed Zach my phone. I was like, hey, you want to see me piss Lindsay off?
And it's kind of funny because I was keeping it to myself, but my mindset was in the same place. I'm like, oh, fuck. This is going to be a little bit tough. Yeah. And so I did the same thing you did. I sent the text and I waited for the reply, and I got basically almost the same exact reply as you did. Fuck, professor. What a dick. This is bullshit. How was your experience?
It was about the same. I had to walk her off the ledge. I was like, it's okay. It's okay.
You had to like walk her off the ledge. You had to sit there and do like the whole like, it wasn't my decision.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I'm sorry he didn't tell you. He didn't tell anybody. He told Zach like 2 minutes before it happened. It's like.
Yeah, and like.
Why doesn't he tell anybody? I don't know. He
well, in your defense, like, you ordered the belt. So he's not gonna have you order your own belt.
Exactly. Right.
And then like, he's not gonna have you order your own belt, and then we got promoted at the same time, so it's not like
I was gonna order your and Andy's, and then
it kind of was like, I kind of understand, like, and honestly, like, you guys already pulled that trick on me, so it's gonna have to be a little bit more like slick, like, for black belt, because like you guys already got me with the whole like what was it last time? Like,
Oh, it was the seminar.
oh yeah, there's a surprise guest seminar. Everyone come in at night, and it was actually all us getting promoted to purple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool. That was actually that got my ass. But now I'm on to it. Now I'm like, okay, like I thought it was a little bit weird when Brittany was like, "Are you going tonight? Are you gonna go? Like, you can go." Like, she's kind
of. You're going, right? Get out of the house. Go.
yeah, like we want to watch you train. I'm like, okay. But now with the baby and stuff, they haven't watched me train in a while. So it's like,
yeah,
you guys are gonna have to get a little bit more slick. You know what I mean? I kind of understand why it went down that way. It kind of sucks, but like you said, it's not much different. Black belt will probably be pretty big. There's a whole speech and shit involved in that. You got your black belt speech written?
Dude, I've been writing for 10 years already, dude.
When Guy got his black belt, he was like, you sit and you think about this speech over and over for years, and then now you're standing here and you don't know what to say.
Well, Zach's probably takes the cake.
Yeah, he put a pretty low bar on it,
He's like, oh, thank you. That's all
what did he say? He said, like, this belt doesn't really mean much to me. Like, I knew what he was getting at, but like the way he prefaced it was like, I don't know, just the way the delivery and everything is like, this belt doesn't really mean shit to me. It's like, okay, well, fucking give it back then. Like,
it's about the friends we made along the way. That's how I needed to save it.
The camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You got anything else you want to tell the listeners? You got anything specific to say? You got, any advice to put out there?
Just keep having fun. That's the best way to go about it. Just keep having fun.
Son of a bitch.
Don't take. I mean, you want to take it serious, but don't take it too serious, right? Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Losing isn't fun, Zach.
Losing can be fun. It's how you learn. That old chestnut, right? I mean, losing sucks, of course, but I mean, as long as you're having fun, you can still lose and have fun. I got my foot ripped off at that one tournament. I was having a good time.
That guy was big.
That was a big boy. Like 6'7".
You guys didn't look like the same weight class.
Well, I was like at that time. I was like 230, I think. I was like right on the cusp. I was just like, no, I was like 240, I think. I was like, I just don't feel like cutting the 15 pounds, whatever, fuck it. And then I went in there and I was like, this dude's fucking massive.
Like he looked thick and tall. Like when you guys stand next to each other, I'm like, how the fuck did this motherfucker make this weight class?
Oh, he little boyed me.
The amount of extension he can get on that ankle, I'm not.
Oh, dude, it was insane. I was not prepared for that, for sure.
My
leg was already straight. and then he extended. I was like, uh-oh.
And you just casually tapped. That was the best part. Like casual tap. Like, yep, that's it. You got it.
Well, my foot popped 8 times. Tap.
Well, dude, congrats. I appreciate it. I
Congrats
look forward to helping each other throughout this next step.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be working on, I guess, refining my skills and being more lethal. Some more surprise attacks. I got a couple ideas, but hopefully we can keep bouncing off each other. Andy, you didn't make it on here today. User error, I'm sure. But congrats to you.
Boomer.
Have a good day, man. And
you too, buddy.
I think the podcast is fucking sick. If you're listening to it and you're like, I don't know if I want to listen to the next episode of this podcast, you're probably a bitch ass. You need to listen to the next episode of this podcast and keep listening to it. Because my friends down here are trying to make shit happen. And we're going to make some shit happen.